Take a moment. Stop whatever you're doing. Look around you. Maybe you're indoors, surrounded by walls, furniture, glowing screens, or perhaps you're outside, seeing streets, vehicles, buildings. It all feels so normal, doesn't it? As if the world has always been this way. But that's just an illusion. An illusion built upon an incredibly thin layer of time. If we stretched out the entire history of our species, Homo sapiens, on a giant timeline, the civilization we know, cities, writing, the internet, even farming is just a tiny blip at the very end. Most of our time on this planet was spent in a vastly different way. The big question is, how did we, a species once so fragile and insignificant, arrive in this era of technology that feels almost like magic? Get ready, because we're embarking on a time expedition, tracing the footsteps of our ancestors, uncovering the mystery of human ascent. Let's narrow the focus. Here's us. Here are our parents, our grandparents. Maybe our great-grandparents witnessed the birth of radio or the first cars. Go back a few more generations, and the concept that the Earth orbits the sun was just starting to gain wide acceptance. A revolutionary idea in its time. Jump further back, about 200 generations. Perhaps our ancestors were building giant stone monuments, or just getting acquainted with the first writing. 500 generations, roughly 12,500 years since the last ice age ended, marking the dawn of what we call civilization. Seems long, just wait. Those 500 generations are merely a campfire spark in the long night of human existence. Homo sapiens itself has been around for at least 200,000 to 300,000 years. And before us, a long line of hominin ancestors stretching back millions of years. Imagine 7 million years of hominin history as one full day, 24 hours. All that recorded civilization we just mentioned only started about 2.5 minutes before midnight, the internet age, just the last fraction of a second. For almost the entire day, our ancestors lived a profoundly different life. Long before pyramids and smartphones, Earth was home to various types of early humans. There was Australopithecus, walking upright, but still with small brains. Then Homo habilis, the handyman, who began making simple stone tools. Then Homo erectus, the first great explorer, spreading out of Africa, likely mastering fire. For millions of years, survival was a daily masterpiece. They faced giant predators, fluctuating climates, and fierce competition. Many branches of our family tree withered and went extinct. We are descendants of the lucky line, the one that navigated the harsh realities of natural selection. Around 300,000 years ago, somewhere in Africa, our species, Homo sapiens, wise man, emerged. Initially, we weren't the dominant creatures. We're probably more often prey than predator. Our bodies weren't as strong as the Neanderthals, our cousins in Europe and Asia. We weren't as fast as our prey. So, what was our edge? The answer slowly began to reveal itself. First, we developed the superpower of togetherness. We learned to cooperate in larger, more flexible groups than other human species. One-on-one, we might lose. But dozens, even hundreds of coordinated sapiens could tackle bigger challenges, share resources, and protect each other. Second, we tamed fire. This wasn't just about cooking food, which was crucial, making nutrients more available and fueling our large brains, but also about warmth, protection from predators at night, and a center for community. Fire transformed the terrifying night into a time for sharing stories and strengthening social bonds, the most revolutionary development. We experienced a cognitive explosion. Our brains developed an extraordinary capacity for abstract thought, complex language, and crucially, imagination. We started creating stories, myths, gods, and intangible concepts like tribes, honor, or even the value of a seashell. This ability to believe in shared fictions allowed us to cooperate on an unprecedented scale. Far beyond ties of family or small bands, we could build shared visions, plan for the future, and organize thousands towards a common goal. Equipped with these abilities, Homo sapiens began spreading out of Africa around 70,000 years ago. We explored new continents, adapting to diverse climates. Along the way, We encountered other human species, like Neanderthals and Denisovans. What happened next is still a debated mystery. Did we coexist peacefully? Did we outcompete them for resources until they vanished? Or did we assimilate? Interbreeding. Genetic evidence shows we carry small amounts of Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA, so interactions definitely occurred. Ultimately, though, only Homo sapiens remained. An evolutionary success story, perhaps, but maybe one with an unspoken dark side. For tens of thousands of years, we lived as nomadic hunter-gatherers, following animal herds and seasonal fruits. Life was free, but also uncertain. Our population grew slowly. Then, around 12,000 years ago, in different parts of the world independently, something extraordinary happened. The agricultural revolution, or the Great Transition. We began observing plant cycles, experimenting with seeds, and learning to cultivate our own food. This was a fundamental shift. We started settling down, building permanent villages and cities. Farming produced food surpluses a rarity before. This surplus freed some people from the daily task of finding food, allowing new professions to emerge: artisans, soldiers, priests, leaders. Society became more complex, more structured, but it also gave rise to social hierarchies and inequality. We traded nomadic freedom for security and the routine of settled life. We began to own land, a concept alien to our hunter-gatherer ancestors. From villages grew cities, and from cities emerged the first civilizations in Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, China, Mesoamerica. With settled life and complex societies came new needs. Recording harvests, debts, laws. Writing was born, a revolutionary technology, allowing us to store information outside the human brain, creating a collective memory passable across generations. The wheel was invented, easing transport and labor. Legal and governmental systems were created to carve order from the chaos of larger communal living. These civilizations didn't live in isolation. Trade networks formed, connecting distant regions. The legendary Silk Road was just one example. Along these routes, not just silk and spices changed hands, but also ideas, technologies, religions, philosophies, and unfortunately, diseases. Civilizations learned from each other, influenced each other, sometimes conquered each other. Kingdoms and empires rose and fell, leaving legacies of culture and knowledge. Knowledge became key. Great civilizations like ancient Greece, Rome, India, China, and the Islamic Golden Age made tremendous advances in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy. The invention of paper in China, later spreading to the Islamic world in Europe, facilitated the spread of knowledge. In medieval Europe, monasteries became repositories of ancient texts. 15th century, one invention changed everything: Gutenberg's printing press. It was a thought replicator. Information could now be mass-produced and disseminated with unprecedented speed. Fueling the Renaissance and the scientific revolution, the era of the scientific revolution saw thinking giants like Copernicus, Galileo, Kepler, and Newton unravel the secrets of the cosmos through observation, experimentation, and mathematics. We began to understand the laws of motion, gravity, and the workings of the universe. This knowledge, combined with technological innovation, sparked the Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries. Steam power, then electricity, began replacing human and animal muscle. Factories mushroomed, cities swelled, production exploded. New wealth was created, but it also brought harsh working conditions, pollution, and sharp social divides. Ambition and greed fueled the colonial era, where European nations explored and dominated much of the globe. The 20th century brought even faster progress, but also the most horrific conflicts in history. 2 world wars claimed tens of millions of lives and left deep scars on civilization. The culmination was the creation of nuclear weapons, a terrifying demonstration of science's power misused. Yet amidst the destruction, innovation continued. We conquered the skies with jets, conquered deadly diseases with antibiotics and vaccines, developed computers that revolutionized information processing, and finally connected the world with the internet. Instant communication, limitless information, access things unimaginable to previous generations became the world in our hands. And now, we stand in the 21st century at a unique crossroads. We wield unprecedented power. We're beginning to read and even rewrite the code of life through genetic engineering. We are developing artificial intelligence that might one day surpass our own will, it be friend or foe. We send robots to other planets, dreaming of making space a second home. We have the potential to overcome global poverty, cure previously incurable diseases, and create a better future for all. However, great power comes with great responsibility. Our progress has also brought immense challenges. Climate change driven by our industrial activity, the threat of weapons of mass destruction, the potential misuse of new technologies like AI and genetic engineering, and persistent inequalities. Inequality, the shared fictions that once united us like nationalism or economic ideologies, now often divide us when facing global problems that demand planetary cooperation. From a small band of fragile hunter-gatherers on the African savanna to the dominant species reshaping the planet, our journey is a story of adaptation, cooperation, intelligence, imagination, but also of conflict, greed, and unintended consequences. We are creatures capable of incredible beauty and utter devastation. We are walking paradoxes. So, when you look out the window again, remember the long, incredible journey that brought us to this moment. We are the inheritors of millions of years of evolution and thousands of years of civilization. The future is unwritten. Will we use our wisdom to overcome our challenges and realize our best potential? Or will we stumble over our own flaws? The pen of history is in our hands. What story will we write next? Let's reflect on that.